All right. We are on to another very important session this evening. My name is Delia Imibo, and you're on to another edition of A to Z of Export Business Financing, brought to you by 3 Tempest Trade Academy. Akiyemi Muda Akoni, thank you very much for joining. Good evening. This import-export platform, Facebook Live from 3 Tempest Trade Academy. We've been discussing different issues around international trade. We concluded last week A to Z of export. We concluded early this week, rather, A to Z of export business financing, and we started from part 1 to part 20. We have a session every day. Sorry, 2 sessions every day. Morning 8 a.m., evening 6 p.m. So we are on to the 6 p.m. edition of this day. We are going to be doing the part 3 today of A to Z of export pricing, export costing and pricing. And we're looking at part 3. In part 1, we had some conversation around the basics and fundamental that extend from part 1 to part 2. And today we are going to be going further this evening, and we're going to be discussing some of the cost item in export pricing. Cost item in export pricing. Cost item in export pricing. Cost item in any export process varies depending on the nature of the product. The nature of the product significantly affects the pricing of your product. If you are shipping finished product, the pricing, the costing, and consequently the pricing will be different from when you are shipping raw materials, from when you are shipping semi-processed product. The nature of the product is important. Is the highly perishable product, mildly perishable product, or non-perishable product? So the nature of the product significantly affects how you are going to cost it and how you are going to price it. Why? Because your costing is going to be based on the peculiarity of that product. For example, if I'm shipping yam, yam is a perishable product, mildly perishable, unlike vegetable that is highly perishable. I will ship vegetable and tomato, which are highly perishable, I will ship them via air. Yam and other fruits that are mildly perishable, I will ship them via refrigerated container on the sea. If it's profitable, I can go through the air. Now, can you see how the nature of the product is affecting how you transport it? And that consequently affects the price of the product, because the cost varies. If I'm shipping by air, if I'm shipping by sea, if I'm shipping by road, if I'm shipping by rail, all of them affect the pricing. All affect the pricing. So in costing, the nature of the product, which consequently affect the operations around the product, tends to affect how the product will be priced. And this is very important, this is very significant. However, in general, most export cost item will include the following. So I will run through a list. The list might not be exhaustive depending on the... I'll be talking now from Nigerian perspective, since I have a lot of Nigerian audience. Number 1 is the product cost. The product cost, the cost of manufacturing the product, the cost of procuring the product. This is the product cost X warehouse. X warehouse, as in the warehouse. the warehouse where the good was manufactured. So if it's your product, after you finish producing, packaging, how much will you be selling? Maybe wholesale price. That's the cost at that point. If you are manufacturing, it's very important when you are exporting, your markup should be on your wholesale price. So that means you have a margin on wholesale, then you have a margin on export. Because whoever is buying from you also will be selling at the same price. So that you have a stable or stabilized price, so that if someone is picking it up from you, if you have to ship out, the price will be similar. And you won't be seen to be competing against people who are selling your product. Because you want to ensure that the product have wider acceptance, because they might be taking it to other places you are not able to take it to. And they want to ensure that the pricing are fairly consistent in the same region. Product cost. Cost of procurement, cost of producing the goods, and at X warehouse. So that means that cost does not involve transport to your warehouse if you are not the one manufacturing it, to your warehouse if it's commodity, or to the port. Transport to the cost, transport to the warehouse are entirely different things. So let me use example. We'll look at it from commodity angle and from manufactured goods angle. So this product cost now for commodity will be price per metric ton of that product. So if I'm doing cashew nut, ginger, sesame seed, cocoa beans, what is the price of that product per metric ton at the location where you are buying from? So if it's cashew nut, what's the price per metric ton at Ogbomoso? If you are buying cocoa, what's the price per metric ton in Ondo or in Akure? If you are doing sesame seed, what's the price per metric tons at Dawano Market in Kano or in Nazarawa or in Benue? What is the price per metric ton at that location? That is what I mean by product cost. Price per metric tons. So if it depends on the nature. If you're also doing palm oil sometimes is priced per liter. Some people price it per metric ton. Per metric ton, that means the weight of the palm oil. If you are doing now finished product, it will be priced per unit, or price per carton, or price per bag, or price per a particular package. Folashade Aderi Kola, thank you very much for joining. Good evening and welcome. So we are looking at product cost, the price of the product per metric ton, price of the product per carton, price of the product per sack, price of the product per pallet. How is the product packaged? Now let me show you a product. This is beans snack. This is beans snack. This is produced in Nigeria. It's akara chips actually. Akara chips. Bean flour chips. These bean flour chips is sold, it has its unit. This is produced in Nigeria, by the way. It has its unit. Now, these bean flour chips is a dozen inside a bag. So this is like a pack of 12. This is a pack of 12. This is a pack of 12. And a dozen inside this pack. So if you are selling now, you can sell per unit or you sell per this pack. You can also call this a carton, even though it's not in carton form. So when you are pricing, you can price per the unit or per carton. But you need to be clear how you want to go about that pricing. You need to be clear about it. And that's very important, because at the end of the day, it becomes easier for you to effectively do the pricing that you want to do. Remember, if you don't have the detail of the cost of your item, then of course, you can't price it effectively and appropriately. The next one is transport. Now, transport is of two legs. Looking at it from Nigeria perspective, you have transport from the warehouse where you are procuring the product from, or where you are manufacturing the product from, to your own warehouse. And then from your own warehouse to the port. To cut cost, what some people do is they go and pick up the container from the port and take it straight to the production location or to the location where they are buying from. You know what that does for them? It reduces the cost. Because, let's say for example, this product is going to be picked up from Akure. There's someone producing it in Ogun State. And I'm going to move it from Ogun State to a warehouse, maybe somewhere in Isolo. And then from Isolo in Lagos, I'm going to move it from Isolo to Apapa. The challenge is this. I'm going to be incurring double cost of transport. But do you know what I found out? If I pick up a truck from outside Lagos, from, let's say, Akure to Lagos, let's assume that truck is charging me 300,000 or 400,000. Maybe a 30-ton truck. That truck, if I say Lagos, since it's Lagos, it's going to take it straight to Apapa. Straight. At 300,000. But if I bring it to Isolo, he will still charge me 300,000. But I might have to incur another 150 or 200,000 to move it from Isolo to Apapa. So you need to be very strategic in your planning and your costing. Now, so let's say I'm going to incur 500,000 to move that goods from Akure to Apapa, because I bring it to my warehouse. Now, when it gets to my warehouse, I'm going to incur labor cost also that will offload it, that will reload it. Unless it's extremely important, there's no reason why you should do that. There's no reason why you should do that. It's very unwise. So here is what you should do. You will look for agent to talk to shipping line or truck owners who have trucks that have gone outside Lagos to places maybe in the east, in the south, in the north, who will be coming to Lagos. Most of the time, they go with a container, import container, to go and drop stuff. They are going to be coming back to Lagos almost empty, only carrying that container. So if you arrange with the agent and with the truck owners, they'll be able to get this for you in few days, for those that have a lot of truck, and you already discussed with the shipping line. The container will go to Akure and load that goods and bring it straight to the port. And when the container arrives at the port, the inspection is done at the port. Now, this arrangement I've described is a lot better for finished product. If you are doing commodity, you might have to take the agent, the inspection agent, who is supposed to inspect the quality of the item. Because the reason why people bring it to a warehouse in Lagos, more often than not, is because there is an inspection that they want to do in Lagos. That inspection they want to do in Lagos is the reason why the good was coming to Lagos in the first place. And that's why they are taking it to a warehouse in Lagos. Because if you are going to do commodity, you need to take it to a designated warehouse warehouse already designated for produce inspection by the Federal Produce Inspection Service. But you can look for such warehouses outside Lagos, in Akure, in Ogbomoso, in Kwara. That will be better for you if you are doing commodities. So the inspection again will have done the inspection there for quality analysis. The Federal Produce in that state will have done that there. The quarantine in that state will have done whatever they need to do there. So when the container arrives, the good is loaded into the container up country and moved to Lagos. And you're able to significantly. Now, most likely that container will be charging you 300,000 or less. Let me tell you why. If moving from Akure to Lagos is 300,000, for example, for a 30-ton truck, but this time around, you are going to pick up a truck coming to Lagos empty with container. Do you know that that truck, when he was leaving Lagos to go and drop this good in the north, he has already charged for the cost of going and coming? So, for the owner of the truck, this new arrangement is an extra income. Because if it's an open back truck, it's not a truck that carries container to the north. It's open back. It's easier for that truck to be able to get another good to bring to Lagos. But if it's a container truck, it's not going to be easy. Unless someone who wants to ship out. And you and I know exporters in Nigeria are very few. I hope you know exporters in Nigeria are less than 1,000, both legal and illegal. Both legal and illegal exporters in Nigeria are not up to 1,000. Every year, individual companies that export in Nigeria are between 600 and 800 every year. Since I've been checking now for almost 10 years, almost every year between 600 and 800. In fact, between 500 and 800. Because it just went up in recent time. It was about as low as 500 before. Company that export in Nigeria. So that means if we did about 11,000, 12,000 shipment, that's 11,000, 12,000 NXP open, 11,000, 12,000 shipment. That is basically carried out by less than 1,000 companies. Some companies do more than 100 shipments in a year, whereas some will do only one. But imports, more than almost 100,000. At least more than 50,000 on record, registered to import on the government portal. Fasco, thank you very much for joining. Good evening and welcome. Now, I'm trying to give dynamics around haulage. Remember, we are discussing costing. I'm trying to look at, because if you are not very strategic in decision you take regarding haulage is another thing that can make your business unprofitable. For those in the north, now we have rail that can move goods to Lagos. This is happening already. It's not what we expect to happen. It's already moving individual, but now rail move goods now in Nigeria. They are not there yet, but they move goods now in Nigeria. There are companies in Nigeria today that move their item to the north by rail. And there are companies in the north that move items to the south by rail today in Nigeria. So if you are in the north central, you want to consider this. Because rail are extremely cheap. Extremely. It can be lower than even 50%. Like this one we are saying 300,000 can be as low as 100,000. 100,000 is even a lot. To move it down. Because it's trained. With capacity for larger load. What am I saying? I'm saying in essence that being able to do proper costing for transport is extremely important. Because transport within Nigeria is horrible. Transport cost. If we are moving from Akure to Lagos at about 300,000, and I won't be surprised some people are saying it's even more than 300,000. 300,000 is actually almost $1,000. And that truck is carrying about 27 tons, about 30 tons. I can use that money to move 2 containers of the same item to China. 2 containers. There are places in China I will ship to at $400, $500. So with $1,000, I will ship 2 containers to China. China is a very far place. If you are going by air to China, you spend about 18 hours. And 18 hours, if you are going straight to, that means you are going straight. If it has to be stop and stop and stop, maybe you spend 2 days. And such a trip by sea For a container, some part of China is as low as $400, $500, $600. Of course, there are places in China that are $800, $900, $1,000. But I'm looking at least the places in China that are cheaper, not the inland ports. But in Nigeria, we haul by road, and the price is not making us competitive at all. So you must learn to manage your costing around logistics of moving your goods, so that you can be very, very, very profitable. Now, I've talked about transport to Lagos and transport from Lagos to the port. So, two legs of transport. Transport from my warehouse outside Lagos to Lagos if I'm producing from outside Lagos or procuring from outside Lagos. And transfer from Lagos to the destination. Final destination. That's the port. To the port of loading. And then from the port of loading, it's now transported by sea to the destination. Or it's transported from warehouse to the airport. And from the airport, it's transported to the destination. Transport. What of warehousing? Warehousing. You know by now that warehousing is extremely important, especially if you are doing commodities and you've not been able to do federal produce to inspect it outside Lagos. By regulation, quarantine and federal produce need to inspect that good before it leaves Nigeria. What I'm asking myself is, why is government not merging these two agencies? So that the same agency I will deal with, even if they come with two staff, instead of separating them, Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service, Nigerian Federal Produce Inspection, and both of them are under Ministry of Agric. Quarantine is concerned about pest. Federal Produce is concerned about, Federal Produce is concerned about pest. Quarantine is concerned about the cleanliness, foreign bodies in the item. Because they issue phytosanitary, cleanliness. Whereas Federal Produce issue fumigation to kill the pest. So pest, foreign bodies together. They can issue two certificates, but I will pay one fee. I'm just talking about what government can do to use to encourage export in Nigeria, actually. All right, so warehousing. Warehousing are location where you are keeping goods temporarily before eventually you dispatch them to wherever it is they will be used. The warehouse should have good security. Let me tell you something about warehouse. In Nigeria, people have horrible experiences with warehousing. You need to be sure of the security of that warehouse. Banks have financed transactions in warehouses, and they have a collateral manager in their warehouse, but the collateral manager innocently only stay at the doors or entrance to the warehouse. But there are some unscrupulous elements who the only thing they think about is creating new ways of defrauding people. Who went to the back of the fence, back of the building, scale the fence, make a hole on the wall at the back, enter, stole goods out, pass the goods through the fence, cover the place back overnight in this same country. So sometimes it's unthinkable what people do. It's unthinkable. In some other clients, this cannot happen. How on earth will someone do this? How on earth? But you know what? It's happening in Obodo, Nigeria. So that is saying clearly, as an agent, you need to be sure the security is not just going to stay at the door. They can move around the building. Then there are cameras also in the place. Then the place is well ventilated. spacious and well ventilated. Then he has firefighting equipment. More importantly, insurance. More importantly, insurance. Insurance against theft. Insurance against fire outbreak. Insurance against anything that will happen that will jeopardize that transaction in the warehouse. It's extremely, extremely important you do insurance. As a matter of fact, if you do not do insurance sincerely, it's a risky adventure. Like those transport I talked about earlier, if you do not do insurance, it is called the good in transit insurance. It's very unwise. You know, I have a friend, a banker, who bought a car and went to do third-party insurance. The day the owner collected the car from him, you know the owner now, armed robbers. The day they collected the car, and he has to buy a new one, he didn't need a prophet or prophetess to tell him that he needs to do comprehensive insurance. Same way, you cannot be shipping goods worth 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, 50 million on road, on rail, and you're not doing insurance. For me, it's the height of foolishness. Height. How much is in insurance? And some people don't do it. And they are the one, it's a different if someone is carrying the risk, so you know you will sort it out. You are the one carrying the risk in this time. 0.3%, 0.4%, 0.5% good in transit insurance. You don't want to do it? Or warehousing insurance? I mean, that would be very unwise. Very, very unwise. Very, very unwise. Very, very unwise, please. Very, very unwise. So I would strongly recommend and implore that you do insurance. So that means insurance is one of the costs you are going to incur on your journey to export business. Insurance is one of the critical costs you will have to incur on your journey in export business. Insurance is one of the critical costs you are going to incur on your journey in export business. At any point in time, be rest assured that the transaction is covered. That the transaction is covered. At every point in time, the goods is covered. As long as it's a different thing if your Incoterm is not telling you that you are the one carrying the risk. But if you are the one carrying the risk at that time, please do your insurance. So today we have discussed product cost. We have discussed warehousing cost. We have discussed transport cost. These are the costs you must factor into your costing, into your pricing. Thank you very much for listening to me today. My name is Dele Ayemibo, and this is Import Export Platform brought to you by 3 Import Trade Academy. Remember, we come up every day, 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Tomorrow is Saturday. So we're going to come up again 8 a.m. And in the evening, I'm hoping we'll be able to come up around 7 p.m. Tomorrow is election in Nigeria. So we are looking forward to our new president. Thank you very much for listening. Have a good evening and also a great weekend. Bye for now.